How do I actually use AI for script writing $1 million UGC Facebook ad scripts? That's what I want to show you exactly in this video, and stay tuned because I'm going to share with you a list of all the prompts I use when using GPT or Claude. So if you're new to the channel, you don't yet know who I am. My name is Justin and I'm the founder at paidadvertising.com, where on one hand, we help businesses implement a scalable ad engine, and on the other, we grow e-com and info businesses to multi-seven figures with paid ads. Now, in the last year, we've profitably spent and advised on over $50 million in ad spend, and let's get straight into today's video. So, what I have opened up in front of me is a list of prompts that we use when it comes to using Claude, okay? You're gonna see a few prompts that say like GPT, but you can replace that by Claude nowadays, and I'll also show you my setup and process on Claude's side of things. Okay, those are prompts that my lead creative strategist at the agency has now developed after a couple of months, of working with UGC content creators. And so I want to start by giving some context. Okay, now first things first is to what extent do we give an actual script to our UGC content creators? And to what extent do we actually still produce brand new content instead of like using AI as an example to give us, some UGC or some voiceovers or whatnot? Well, here's the thing, okay? No matter what people want to say about AI content, and I've said it many times on the channel, I love utilizing AI as much as I can, but it is not the only thing that you should be using in your account. I've said many times that AI UGC, meaning like UGC with platforms like Arcads, as an example where there's no real content creator involved, that content is great if you have not a lot of money and you need to be cash conscious with like a brand new business and you want to test a bunch of different creative angles at once. So that's for one type of business. Now, it's also great for someone who, on the flip side, has tons of content, has actually worked for some very long period of time, with UGC creators, and all they want to do now is like reuse some of their existing B-roll and content and like mash up like a new script and some like new bits and bobs of like new UGC amongst their existing B-roll. And so for that use case, utilizing AI is perfect for that. Or if they just want to do like an AI voiceover with something like 11 Labs, again, it's great for that. But when we work with creators, depending on our approach, okay, so we use a platform on our side called Incense. So I'm going to show you real quick right here. Incense is what we use for content creators, for finding out creators specifically. Now, on said platform, there's two types of campaigns that we typically run: paid for campaigns and also product seeding campaigns. So paid for campaigns, pretty simple. I say, hey, I'm going to be hiring you for a $50 piece of content, which nowadays, by the way, you don't really get content creators for $50 anymore. But nonetheless, it's like, I'll pay you X amount of money for a piece of content, and here's what you need to say on screen, right? So those ones typically paid for. It's much easier to give them like an actual script to read out loud. But then the ones when we do product seeding, especially for a slightly lower average order value product, which, we can kind of give out to a lot more creators, we know that we might only be expecting 20 to 30%, or not 20 to 30%, but 60 to 70% essentially, or even up to 80% in some cases of the content back, meaning that there is a 20 to 30% loss of content because they're not being paid for, they're just being given a product. Those, we give a framework of how to record a UGC more than we giving them like an actual script. So now enough kind of babbling at the start. I want to get into the actual prompts and Claude setup that we have, okay? So in the prompts themselves, this is like for the scenario when a creator shares an idea. So it often happens that content creators, when reaching out to them, so the way that we typically label our campaigns in Incense is we do a generic campaign. What do I mean by that is you got to think of Incense. If you haven't used it yet, it's like you got to think about it like Upwork. So you post a broad job description of like, hey, who is our business and like what type of content creators we're looking for and what type of content we want to do. But it's not there where you tell them exactly what to say in front of the camera. It's more to get them interested in the brand. So you sell the brand and more than the product or campaign itself. And once they show some interest, then the goal is to actually expand on the ideas that creators have shared or to share our ideas themselves. So sometimes creators who are super motivated will respond to our campaign and say, hey, look, I'm super pumped. I'd love to work with you guys. Here's like a concept idea I have for working with you. And sometimes actually their concept ideas are great. Real quick, my creative editing team at the ad agency uses this brand new tool called Magic, which helps us to edit video ads much faster, utilizing AI to add captions to our videos, automatically add relevant B-roll, or cut longer form VSLs and video ads we make into shorter clips. So with that said, check out a link in the description down below to try Magic today and use code Lalonde for 10% off. So what we're gonna do from there is something like this. Okay, Claude, I'd like us to make some UGC for brand name for the product name. Here's what one of our creators shared. So idea of the creator. Now also us as the marketer behind that, include the awareness level and the desire that we want to target in the ad. Are you familiar with UGC? They are like video scripts, but told by regular people from a relatable and real approach. Often they're presented as story times. Now, with that being said, what are some UGC ideas we could do based on the message from the creator and the data about the persona, awareness level, and desire? Now, you might be saying, Justin, there's a lot of missing context. Well, yes, in that prompt, but no, because the way in which we use Claude is like this. We create a project per client. Each project has project knowledge. Now, what we upload in there is we're going to upload a breakdown, let's say, of all of their previous winning ads. We're going to upload a breakdown. In this case, this is an info product client of the winning VSL on the current website. We're going to upload a document that has like all of our research initially. Now, we had a couple different, variations of our research center, which we ended up uploading in there. We typically compile our research center into a marketing plan. I have several other videos about, what is the research center and whatnot. And so that is like pages and pages of data about winning ads, about our persona, about their desires, about what our different marketing awareness levels are, and what questions our persona is asking themselves at each of these levels, and so on and so forth. Okay. So this context allows us so that anytime that we paste in prompts into Claude, they pull information back from these from the knowledge essentially of the product. Now, whenever we kind of direct some of the overall project, this is kind of the prompt that we put in there, okay? So generate marketing materials and research for the brand scaling with shoutouts, which essentially is like the product of that client. Adapt your tone to your 2024, in this case, I should say 2025 world, while still basing yourself on Eugene Schwartz's timeless marketing principles. Address yourself to our personas and adapt your tone so it resonates with them. Write Facebook ad copies in a format that we would see on feed using appropriate emojis. Ideate with the marketer's brain and immerse yourself in the brand and service. Use direct response copywriting principles and frameworks as taught by experts like Stefan, Georgie Ben Settle, Dan Kennedy, so on and so forth. Okay, so that is our prompt that we typically have in the project knowledge right here. So kind of going back to this right here. So if I was to paste in this prompt right here, I'd get a pretty good enough answer for me to put or send back to the creator on Incense. Now, I'm going to give you an example of that in a second. So here we go. Now, to keep on moving, scenario number 2 would be developing a UGC brief from a general idea. So when we have an idea ourselves, but the creator has like no real insight yet, or they haven't really shared any ideas with us, prompt looks like that. It's pretty simple. What would a UGC brief look like based on the data provided, following our original brainstorming structure, and then we paste in the idea. So like here's like the general concept idea that we've had, which we might have came about this idea by looking through competitors or what's live on Atria, so on and so forth. Scenario 3, refining UGC ideas into a sales-oriented scripts. Converting strong UGC ideas into scripts that sell, let's say, a course or sell a product or so on and so forth. So again, an example of that prompt. Transforming copy into a UGC script. So that sometimes what we're going to be doing is we're going to look into some of our best performing pieces of ad copy and actually try and reverse engineer the same fundamentals and overall structure, but make it longer and into an actual UGC script. So this is the prompt that we would be using for that, right? And here's an example of that prompt. Now, UGC scripting from scratch. That's if like we don't really have an idea yet. We don't really have any inspiration. We haven't spoken to the creator. So when generating scripts based on a marketing framework. So again, GPT or Claude, I want to ideate UGC scripts for the product name. Here's the marketing data. So all the marketing fundamentals that we want to use in that script. So I want to make a script for this persona, that awareness level, for this mass market desire, so on and so forth. And then, here's the rest of the prompts that we have right there. UGC campaigns. This is actually just for Incense. Like this is how we get Claude or GPT to give us a description essentially of the campaign to then post on Incense and have creators apply to work with us. So I keep saying GPT or Claude because these work on both. Okay, we first built those prompts for GPT back then, but nowadays we pretty much exclusively use Claude for 99% of copywriting tasks or any sort of like text task. We tested in the past 7 days Perplexity AI and Grok, also from Twitter or X. In this case, we still found out that Claude was actually better at script writing than Grok is, but our workflow essentially it has been for the last like month or two, GPT for research, which is typically a bit of a faster model, and Claude for script writing. Whereas now what we're trialing and our kind of new structures is Perplexity for research and Claude for script writing. So we're actually in the process of phasing out GPT in our advertising process. So these prompts, once again, I'm going to leave a list of those down below for you to check out. Now, that said, those can all be just copied and pasted into a project that you have on Claude when given the right knowledge right here. Now, if you're unsure about the type of knowledge given here or what a research center is or any of that, I invite you to check the second link in the description down below to check out our Ad Engine one-on-one consulting program, where I do share all of our processes for doing market research, building a marketing plan, and exporting all of this data back to Claude. Now, if you're an e-commerce brand or info product business owner wanting to partner with a paid ads partner on Meta, Google, or TikTok, check out the first link down below and book in a call with myself and the team at paidadvertising.com. On that note, I'm going to wish you an amazing day. Check out other videos of the channel for some more useful marketing tips, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.